please don't talk to me like that. It's really not necessary and rather hurtful. I understand that you don't like the lunch I prepared, Kyle, but there is no need to be so loud or disrespectful towards me. It's not right to blame you for not packing good lunches. Instead, we should look for a solution together. Please don't use such harsh language, it's not healthy for our relationship. A divorce isn't the answer here, let us talk and work out a way through this challenging period. Not long after, tears were streaming down the faces of both my husband and son. My name is Christy and I am a housewife living with my family, consisting of Damien and our son Kyle, who is in 8th grade. After a long wait, my husband and I were blessed with our son, Kyle. My affection for him began from the day he was born and has only grown stronger over time. Kyle is undoubtedly the apple of our eyes. Lately, Kyle has been so rebellious. So, hurry up and go take that bath. Please. You have to be ready for him and keep the bathtub warm for him so he doesn't have to wait around too long. Kyle, wake up early and make sure you go to school. Your room is still in a mess and it doesn't look like you cleaned it at all. What's going on? You better get it done by the time I get back. Oh, Kyle, if you're not busy, please help me a little. Honey, shut up and just go get me some juice. Like that, Kyle's outbursts towards me were terrible. Plus he treats me like his servant and blames me when I didn't do it for him. And the other day I found out that he was taking money from my wallet without my permission. When I questioned him about it, Kyle didn't seem offended and said, "All you can do for me is give me money anyways." At first I tolerated him thinking that he was just going through puberty as he is in 8th grade, but as I have watched his recent behavior and how he treats me his own mother, I have come to realize that I can no longer let that slide as his puberty. I wondered what to do, and when I asked Damien about it, he replied, "Kyle's bad attitude is because of your bad education. You're a housewife, but you can't even do proper house chores or raise a child and like that." I was blamed by Damien as well. Kyle's behavior and Damien's constant blame towards me were becoming more and more frustrating. Was it my fault that I didn't raise Kyle properly? Was it because of his puberty? Is there anything I can do to solve this? One day while I was thinking to myself like this, an incident occurred. I wake up early every morning just to make lunch for Kyle. Some days he doesn't go to school recently, but I don't know how Kyle is feeling and what he's in the mood for. So I do my best to wake up early every day, but I don't want this lunch. It doesn't taste good. If you're going to make lunch, make it better. Kyle then took the lunch that I just finished making and turned the lunchbox upside down in front of me. Then the lunch that I made went right into the trash. I could do nothing but be shocked about what had happened. Finally, I won't have to eat a bad lunch anymore. Well, I'll take some money for lunch money. Kyle said that as he pulls the bills out of my wallet and tossed back the wallet to me. I clutched the wallet tightly in my hand, unable to find anything to say back to him. Then Kyle left the house even though I was standing right beside him. Damien didn't say anything. In times like this, a father should speak up. It's your fault for not making a good lunch for Kyle. So a lunch that doesn't taste good deserves to be thrown away. I wouldn't want to eat it either. Even when I tell Damien to scold Kyle, he blames me for everything. You can't even clean up or do laundry well, but we still put up with you. Can't you at least try to be a better cook? Don't you think you should put yourself in our shoes? Who has to eat these meals, which tastes horrible every day? As Damien said that, he quickly left the house. The breakfast I had prepared for Damien and Kyle was left on the dining table untouched, and in the trash was the lunch that I had woken up early to prepare. Ever since I was a child, I was taught not to waste food. That's why I could never understand the behavior of not eating prepared meals or throwing any food away. When we first got married, Damien used to eat my home-cooked meals saying that they were delicious. Until recently, Kyle told me that he loved my Salisbury steak. It was not that my cooking was particularly bad, but I could only think that both Damien and Kyle was harassing me or trying to bully me. Kyle and Damien's terrible attitudes towards me ran through my mind. I sigh loudly and take out a sheet of paper that I had tucked away in a drawer. It was the divorce papers that I had secretly tucked away, as I thought that I'd have it just in case if anything happens. I've had enough and I couldn't stand it anymore. Maybe they would be better off without me with these feelings. I filled out the divorce papers when Damien and Kyle returned home. I spread out the signed divorce papers on the table. I've just had enough at this point. So let's get a divorce. Oh, yay. I'm so happy. Just get out hearing me asking for divorce. Kyle says this happily. I'm so glad I'm divorcing a wife who can't even do her own house chores, even when the housekeepers can do a good job about it. Damien said that and also filled out the divorce papers quickly. Kyle looked at me with a gloomy expression on his face and said, "Get out of here right now." "All right. I'm leaving this house and you two can do the rest on your own." "Well, yeah, because this is my house, so you can go wherever you want." Kyle and I were both men, so it's easier for us to be alone saying this. Damien patted Kyle on the shoulder and then Kyle began to tremble. Then Kyle said something unbelievable. "I knew you cared more about your partner, who you are cheating on with, than us. That's why you're leaving us, isn't it?" Kyle's words startled me, and I stopped moving for a moment. "You are having an affair, aren't you, Mom?" So I felt like I was betrayed and abandoned, and I couldn't forgive you. So Kyle mistakenly thought that I was cheating on Damien and that I was betraying my family. It wasn't puberty that was causing him to suddenly lash out at me and be so arrogant and having a terrible attitude like that. But I've never cheated, or I'm not cheating with anyone behind Damien's back. Kyle, why did he even think that? Besides, it's not me who is having an affair, but it's your father. When I said that, Kyle froze. Saying what? And Damien looked like he was panicking, not knowing what to do. What are you saying, Christy? There is no such thing that I cheat on you, and it's all a false accusation. Then I'll show you the proof. I took out a cardboard box from our bedroom and spread it out on the table. In it was a necktie, which I didn't remember buying a hotel membership card. I've never heard of a woman's handkerchief, which I don't even recognize, and a shirt with lipstick on it. Damien had been acting weird and a little off for some time, taking his phone into the bathroom and bathtub, and he also smelled like he was wearing a woman's perfume on the days he came home late. So I had asked an investigator to investigate about Damien with divorce. In my mind, my hunch was right, and the results showed that Damien was having an affair behind my back. What kind of evidence is this? You can make these things up, you know. Damien refused to accept the evidence I showed him, so I confronted him with a definite proof. Are you saying that what you see in this photo is also made up? The photo showed Damien and a woman who worked under him, walking arm in arm. Ugh. This is, well, it's not that I was cheating on you. You filled out the divorce papers really quickly because you thought you could remarry that woman anyway. Right. As I turned to Damien and said this, Kyle murmured in a small voice saying, "You've got to be kidding me, right? What you told me was a complete lie, Dad, because you are the one who told me that Mom was the one having an affair." That's because as Kyle's shout at Damien, he became smaller and smaller. Damien had once been scolded by Kyle for treating me like a servant and verbally abusing me badly. "You're being terrible to Mom, Dad." In order to get Kyle, who defended me, onto Damien's side, he lied to Kyle that I was having an affair, and Kyle unfortunately believed that lie, felt betrayed by me, and began to behave badly. "Not only did you trick me, but you tricked our son as well. You are not only a lousy husband, but also a lousy father, Christy and Kyle. I am so sorry. We shall just discuss everything through a lawyer now. Hi. I am no longer interested in having any conversation with you. I am leaving now." I ignore and shake off Damien's attempts to hang on to me and gather my things to leave the house. Then Kyle opens the bedroom door, apologetically, and walks in. "I'm sorry, Mom. I know you may not forgive me, but I'm really sorry, Mom." Toward the end, Kyle was at a loss for words and I knew that he was crying. After so much verbal abuse I received from Kyle, I honestly don't think that I could forgive Kyle so easily, but when I saw my son's tears, I couldn't leave him. Just like that. "Kyle, I'm thinking of going back to my parents' house. Would you also like to come to Kyle?" "I'm really sorry, Mom." "Thank you. I will go with you." Kyle apologized to me again and started to pack his things in his room. Kyle and I finished preparing to leave the house and declared to Damien that we were leaving. "I'm going to charge you alimony." "Definitely. Of course. I will also charge the person with whom you had an affair, so please keep that in mind." "No way. If we discuss about it, you'll understand." "Right, Kyle, you're always on my side, right? I can't believe you could say such thing when you were the one who lied to me. He really let me down." Kyle and I left the house together while ignoring Damien. Kyle seemed a little concerned about Damien, but when I started to walk away, he followed right behind me. I went straight home to my parents' house and explained the situation to them. And they gladly welcomed me and Kyle. After returning home, Kyle changed his attitude from how he was before and began to help out willingly. He takes the initiative to do everything from cleaning the bathroom to shopping, not to mention cleaning and doing laundry even without being asked. My parents live at home and are pretty old, so Kyle's help is a big help to them. They were happy to know that Kyle was growing up to be a good son. Kyle is a good son, and since coming back to my parents' house, Kyle seems to be back to who he was before. The grudges I had towards Kyle had gradually disappeared and our conversations have increased. But there is one thing that has been traumatic for me. It was the incident when Kyle threw away the lunch right in front of me. No matter how hard I watched Kyle work, I couldn't bring myself to make him lunch because I still clearly remembered what happened that day. I guess Kyle knew and felt that too because he never asked me to make him lunch, but Kyle's allowance was not enough to cover the cost of lunch, so Kyle began waking up early and started to make his own lunch, although he wasn't really used to it. He stood in the kitchen and cut vegetables. Seeing Kyle like that, the trauma in my heart gradually faded away. One day, Kyle told me that he had cooked scrambled eggs and left some for leftovers. I was curious and tried some of the leftovers. It tasted very salty, as if he put too much salt and pepper. I wonder if Kyle always eats salty scrambled eggs. It made me smile to think of Kyle trying his best to make his lunch every day, even though he was not used to it. Even though Damien had lied to him and he was tricked by Damien, I still would not be able to easily forgive Kyle for what he did. That's what I thought. But when I see Kyle working so hard on his own to help out, I can feel that he's making an effort to win my trust. Tears began to well up as I ate the salty scrambled eggs. Kyle was the one I had waited for so long to come into the world as my child, the son whom I had loved so much since he was a little baby boy, as he was the apple of my eye. I thought I might never be able to forgive him again after everything he has said and done to me. But after all, Kyle is my beloved son. I vowed to let bygones be bygones and face Kyle again. From that day on, my relationship with Kyle began to change for the better. I received the alimony from Damien and his mistress, and we divorced with my savings. We moved into an apartment near my parents' house where we could live together as a family of two. I had been a nurse before my marriage, so I had no trouble getting back to work. When I started looking for work, the hospital manager where I had previously worked immediately called me. I was to work as a full-time nurse. And naturally I would have to work the night shift on some days, but I never felt burdened because Kyle willingly volunteered to do the house chores. By the time Kyle became a high school student, we had grown very close. I even felt that we were closer than before Kyle's rebellion began. The two of us often go shopping together, and Kyle quickly carries the shopping bags from me without saying a word. One day, as the two of us were going out shopping as usual, I saw Damien on a sidewalk. Damien looked really dirty and it looked like he was homeless. Rummaging through a trash can, according to what my lawyer told me. Damien had had quite a hard time paying his alimony after our divorce. Still, he somehow paid the alimony thinking that if he paid it, he could finally be with his mistress. But later on, when I demanded alimony from Damien's mistress as well, they ended up breaking up. Damien was fired from his job because his mistress told everyone in the company that Damien had forced himself onto her. Seeing Damien being like that, it didn't really make me sad at all. He got what he deserves. Talking softly to myself, I noticed Kyle's gaze on me. He inquired, "Mom, is something wrong?" As if he hadn't noticed Damien's presence in the room, even though we had ended our marriage. Despite the fact that Damien was Kyle's father, he still tried to disrupt our relationship with his fabricated stories. We are now divorced, yet we have become a stronger family unit of just the two of us. I reflected on this. I decided not to tell Kyle about Damien. It's nothing to worry about. So, what do you feel like having for dinner tonight? Salisbury steak sounds good. Mom, your Salisbury steak is truly amazing. I'm hoping you can show me how to make it one day. I'm really excited for the chance to try one of your delicious creations. After Kyle pretended to not have noticed Damien, the two of us made our way into the mall merrily. Thank you for sticking around till the very end. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos. We look forward to interacting with you in our next video.